Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, Juggernaut issue number 2. Really great issue. Typical Marvel fashion. Well, for some of the books at least, they've got the cover artists completely separate from the regular artist in there, which was a little weird. And I have to admit, I am not a fan of this opening page. Like, this was... You get to that third sentence, the paragraph, whatever you want to call it in here, it's like sentence is supposed to be more than 2 or 3, words. Anyway, it was just like green light means go for it. Is that how we're talking about the Hulk? That was just really weird. That being said, that's the bulk of my complaints for the comic book. Now I can just start getting into everything that I liked about the comic book. First, I'm wearing pink because it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month internationally. So tell your friends, tell your lovers, tell yourself, remind yourself, do a booby check and make sure that you're safe and healthy. And if you need to, consider going to actually get a professional exam because, yeah. Anyway, just a quick reminder, we at Comic Book University, we love the boobies. All seriousness now and joking aside, seriously, do the exams. Okay, so the Juggernaut in How Green Is My Valley? Weird title, but I like it. Fabian N. is the writer, Ron Garney is the artist, Matt Mila on colors, and VC's Joe Sabino doing the colors. Juggernaut was created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. We flip all the way to the back and we see that Jeff Shaw and Matt Mila are the cover artists with Superlog doing the variant cover. I hope that's a company name. Otherwise, dude, you need better parents. This is like hippie parents naming their kids Flower, or Gwyneth Paltrow naming her kid Apple. Like, dude, what? Anyway, it's a joke. Take a joke. That's definitely not a human being's name. So we get a good back and forth between the action and a different time period, anywhere from 2 weeks to 6 months ago, whatever it is, where the Juggernaut is fighting the Hulk. That's right, we jump right into the thick of things, right into the action, right into the deep end with this comic book, these two going at it with each other. But we also have a bit of the backstory where D-Cell and Juggernaut are increasing their friendship, they're tightening their bond. I actually hope that this lasts. Juggernaut really does need a foil. He needs a friend. And since Black Tom Cassidy doesn't want to have anything to do with Juggernaut at this point because he's a little loco en la cabeza, it makes sense that he would try and find someone else who he can actually hang out with and talk to and be pals with, right? I like how Matt Mila by himself, with the colors, all of it, you don't actually need it to say, I'm glad that it does say, 2 weeks ago and currently and so on and so forth. But I feel like we don't really need it just because the art is done in such a way that, hey, it's pretty obvious that this is different. It's the same person doing the art. But when an artist has multiple styles that they can pull from to draw what would essentially be the same pictures, I'm telling you, that's a plus. That's an ace in your pocket. That's something that you definitely freaking lean on. So, yeah, 2 weeks ago, sure, nice to have. Definitely not necessary. The fluctuation between the action and the story in and of itself is fantastic because sometimes in pages like this, you already saw this in the previews, you'll get the action, boom, 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 fighting. But over here, the action is still going on in the background, but there's also a little bit of comedy. There's a bit of, not even exposition, just narration more than anything else. This is definitely Juggernaut's comic book. Look, it says it right on the front. That being said, it's definitely her point of view on this. It's definitely her narration at the very, very least. And I really like that. It's like there are two experiences happening throughout this comic book. This could go a lot more than just 5 issues if it wanted to. If that's all the story that Fabian has in him, no complaints, no arguments. Tell what you got to tell. Don't sit here and try and rush something, and definitely don't try and expand something out. It's like, you want 12 issues? I think I could eke 12 paychecks out of you if I did. Don't. It just kills your credibility as a writer. So I'm glad that he's just doing what he needs to do to tell the story that he wants to tell. Professor X shows up at one point months ago in Chicago and tells Kane Marco, sorry, you're not actually welcome on Krakoa. You're not actually a mutant, brah. It's sad, but at the same time, I don't believe it at this point because Jordan D. White is the editor of this book. I'm saying it's a slight observation on my part, whatever. No, all seriousness. He's not a mutant, but Charles is his stepbrother, so, you know, he does care about Kane, so it shows. Back to the fighting again. D-Cell finally helping out. I couldn't praise the idea of actually separating every single word, every single letter in here to show Hulk being massively decelerated. That is freaking fantastic. It's more than any art could possibly show. I don't care if you got Gene Colan doing the art with his, like, nobody does action the way that Gene Colan has done action before. You don't even need that when you've got something like this. You know what her power is, and he's just, like, every single letter is a full-on syllable, if not a word, you know? Seeing Juggernaut drawn also so much smaller. I have to go back a page for this. I'm not going to show you every page in the comic book. I'm not here to spoil everything, just to give you a general synopsis of the book, a little bit more detailed synopsis. Look how much smaller Juggernaut is than Hulk in here. He's definitely not the Juggernaut that he used to be back in the day. That's fine. We've seen that before when he shared the Crystal of Sidorak with Black Tom as a, you're my best friend. Here's some powers for you too, because just shooting stuff at your shillelagh isn't good enough, and I don't think he had the plant powers at the time, that secondary mutation. That being said, seeing him smaller in here helps us to kind of get a gist at what's going on. We see some of the other backstory here where Juggernaut actually goes. The currency exchange that happens in here, I don't know if this is an inside joke or if Fabian just got it wrong, but the currency, euros are definitely the worst currency rate in Hungary. Definitely the worst currency rate over there. I've been there. No, you don't want to have to deal with, especially not on your credit card, because then they've got complete control over what they're going to do for you. You wind up paying much over the dollar, or much over the what you expect to pay otherwise. Anyway, what is it? A fiorno? I forget what the word is. I'm not going to look for it right now, but yeah. And Hungary and Turkey are very funny places for me. I remember some students of mine teaching a vocational school in Saudi. It was the vocational school. I was teaching oral grammar, so they had to actually speak, and the main thing was speaking. So even my tests were, you got to speak in front of me. I'm just going to mark off, and I actually had debates with each of the students as their final, but as their midterm, I made them all talk about different countries that they either have been to or wanted to go to. So they really had to start looking up stuff on the internet instead of just doing Snapchat on their phone. Snapchat is so huge. It's as big as what's up in Saudi. What's going on with that? Anyway, it's just funny. One of the students was doing Turkey, and he's swearing to me that they go by the euro. I'm like, bruh, you should have done a little bit more research, because while certain stores can take the euro, I promise you they use a different kind of currency. Can you look up what kind it is now? And he didn't know how to look it up, and he just showed that he failed miserably in this. This is a bit of a personal story, whatever, deal with it. And I still gave him a pretty good grade for trying, but I definitely took a couple of points. I forget how many points, at least 5 points. I think I might have taken 10 points from him. But I took a couple points away from just the idea that he got the currency wrong, because I had just come through Turkey, and I always make sure I have at least a day layover, well, at least 9 hours layover, because I want to be able to hang out, and go to places that I've been to before. What do you call it, while I'm waiting? And I just happened to have had some Turkish lira in my freaking pocket. I put it down. I was like, what country is that from, brother? Not to be confused with the Italian lira, which typically aren't really used anymore. They're fully over into the euro at this point. Any friggin', you can still find lira around though. I feel like that was like, so either that was an inside joke where somebody said, oh yeah, definitely trade in the, do the exchange in the euro because you're going to get more money out of it. No. The exchange rate is worse with the euro. If you're ever in Bucharest or whatever, just don't. All right. Don't do the freaking euro. You're going to get screwed. All that being what it is. The book, it shows that Juggernaut is trying to get his powers back, has tried to do what he can. There's a reason why he has this new suit. I don't know if his powers are currently from Sidorak right now, but he's clearly not as powerful as he wants to be, as powerful as he was before. I don't know what Fabian is going to do with this story going forward, but the way that I'm seeing it is, and the way that the history of Sidorak has always been, and I know, like, with Fabian being in the business for 30 plus years or whatever it is that he said that he's been in the business, he knows how fickle Sidorak can be. Power, only power. And certain things that you can do can lose favor with your god, Sidorak in particular, especially when you actually forego that god or the gift that that god has given you. Remember in the previous issue, in order for Cain to escape from Limbo, the armor that he was dragging with him, how metaphorical that is, that the only thing he's ever had that he actually appreciated was that armor, was the Juggernaut identity. So when he gave, like, after dragging it as far as he dragged it, his body as ragged as it was, do you want to stay, you want to keep this useless shell husk of an armor, or do you want to go back home? And he decided to go back home. He lost faith in his god. That's big. That's important. I'm hoping that's just that's not only headcanon, on my part going forward. Maybe this pink bandana's on a little bit too tight. That being said, I really feel that he doesn't have the power of Sidorak right now. Remember, that new armor was manufactured by Damage Control. So, So when Hulk beats up on Juggernaut, it's no. Remember what I said before. Aside from when he became Canal or whatever the Marvel version of Futhark is, that's being used for the runes, whatever that version of the Hulk's name was when the hammer fell out of the sky from Asgard, or whatever hell that it came from, hell with one L. That's the only time that Hulk has ever beaten Juggernaut before. Again, we're going with the history of the Marvel Universe. I know people saying, there's been a couple people who, I don't think you've read that many comic books before. I'm not mad at you, just, keep the rando internet nerd rage at a bit of a level. It's just comic books, bro. It's just comic books, But the Hulk has never, aside from with that hammer, never beaten Juggernaut before. That's a big deal. And for him to go at it and beat up the Hulk, or to beat up the Juggernaut in this was... it's something for us longtime readers, man, The end of this. I had a bit of a problem with Hulk smiling the way that he did. That being said, I'm seeing the political slant that Fabian has. I'm not here to badmouth it because I have very similar political beliefs to him. I'm not a liberal. I'm probably more of a progressive than anything else, but I hate even labeling myself that way. I'm me, and I think my way. And, yeah. Anyway, the idea that he does in here is very similar to stuff that I have seen in politics before. Case in point, when I think it was the second or third presidential debate where the audience was really on Bloomberg's side and they were seriously against Bernie Sanders, and they booed a moment that Bernie did where he's talking about trying to help out the common worker. And he said at one point, he's like, really? You're booing that? That caused a bunch of people to actually try and act like real investigative journalists. We haven't seen investigative journalists in forever. As an example, MSNBC has one part-time investigative journalist on their payroll. So what exactly are they doing? It's basically like sports games. These guys say that these guys won, so I guess these guys won. This politician says that he won the debate, so I guess he won. Sure. I didn't see that scoreboard. But what I did see was, you know, when they came to realize that you had to pay like $1,000+ for the nosebleed seats. There weren't nosebleed seats, but you get the reference that I'm making, to be in that political debate. And Hulk makes the reference, who here doesn't work for Roxxon? And the one guy saying, well, I just work at one of their gas stations. It was very telling. And it was very interesting to see that, because seeing Hulk smile at first, when a book, when a writer, an artist, when a comic book can make you think, dude, are you about to wreck this character on me? Are you about to wreck this character for me? Like, Hulk has done a lot of property damage. But it's a great idea to show that there's only certain people he's going to be apologetic for and towards. And that made sense the way that it was done in here. I'm not going to try and spoil everything that happened in this book. I'm not going to go deeper into that particular scene, which was actually really good. And the flip around that happened, which was, it's like you should definitely see it coming. And you could see it in the art. You could see it every time they showed that character's eyes. Like, the face didn't change, but you're looking at it and it's like, dude, he's got something on his mind. Damn it, that was good. That was really good. Anyway, I'm really enjoying where this book is going. It's good to see the Juggernaut actually being treated like a real freaking character instead of just some punching bag, some immortal punching bag versus the immortal Hulk. I enjoyed it. Anyway, also just want to remind people, just for the sake of conversations, because legends never die, neither do feuds apparently. Can anybody show of hands, or possibly in the comments section, are there any other YouTubers that go out of their way to say an artist or writers, name the creators of a book, who go out of their way to say the names and give credit where credit's due? Just a reminder why I do it. Two reasons. One, I remember Matthew Rosenberg doing a random tweet where he said, I don't like that they give me the option to keep on reading the credits for the first season of Daredevil, as opposed to making it that it's automatically, I can choose to skip it, as opposed to, he didn't like the idea that I had to choose to keep on reading, as opposed to the automatic function is to skip the closing credits for Daredevil season 1. Because I want to see who all the people were who made this amazing thing. And I'm like, that's actually a really good point. And it really stuck it to me when I read a Mags Visaggio book, and I didn't even bother to look at who made this particular comic book. It was a Transformers versus Visionaries comic book, and Mags herself actually commented and gave me and another commenter direction for where the comic book was going to go from here. And I ignored the comment because I literally looked at the comment. I'm like, you're telling us what's going to happen next? Who the hell are you? How do you know what's going to happen next in this comic book? You're saying with such authority. And what a freaking jackass. And I didn't say that. It was just what went in through my head. I ignored the comment because I thought, who are you? Like, how do you know what's going to happen next? And this is me just being introspective. What a jackass I had to have been to not even recognize the freaking writer herself is telling me, like, she's giving me the time of day and saying, hey, here's the thing. And just for the sake of conversation, nobody, however, is important enough that I have to look up every single person's spelling it. Like, we've got comic book writers and artists from all over the world. And as worldly and cultural as I am, bruh, I'm not going to be able to read everybody's names and right away know this stuff. So, if you are offended, we'll call it annoyed, that I mispronounced your name, the onus cannot be, and it will not be, upon me to go out and try and hunt down the various pronunciations of all the people's names and whatnot. It's just not going to work that way. But if you could stop being annoyed enough and actually give me a pronunciation of your name in the comments, I will do my best to pronounce your name the right way. I will ask if it's the right way, and we're good. We could even have a video chat, private or public if you want. But being that way, again, it's disappointing to see how someone who you used to look up to as a role model for how to write or how to do anything, and they just treat you with such contempt and then flippantly forget about the hurt that someone causes, particularly a new YouTuber who doesn't do this for a career, but rather who does this for a hobby and for the love of the medium. And the words were so hurtful that I thought about actually quitting. I'm not here to, try and fake being some super toxic man. I'm a man, and that's all there is to it. And I don't have to prove anything to anybody. You know what I'm saying? But when you say words that are so hurtful that you make somebody think that you screwed up so badly that you need to just quit completely and then just callously forget about it, it says a lot. And little pejoratives that you want to use afterwards, it's just really disappointing. And at the end of the day, the only reason why I don't pursue it in a larger way is because, let's face it, I do have a bigger platform. I do. I'm here doing videos. I'm here doing talking. And I don't think it's fair if I just start berating someone, and I don't feel the need to use pejoratives and whatnot directly. Saying that someone acts like a dick, that's one thing. All things being what they are, rudeness, sometimes you call things out. And you might want to make an argument. I just came to find out that it looks like this particular person I'm speaking of, if you don't know who I'm talking about, it's not that important, is also from Jersey. So we could just be two Jersey boys, making mama jokes to each other. Or one of us can recognize, because the other one one of us can just recognize, yeah, I really was a dick. And I apologize for that. And just let it go. Or just stop watching my videos. It's your choice. Anyway, good book regardless. Also, check your boobies. Real talk. We love the boobies here at Comic Book University. And joking aside, do your tests. And remind the people in your life. Watch a video, like an ad, all that YouTube stuff. You like the free content? Here's another free content. Subscribe. Totally free. You can undo it at your leisure. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.